Welcome to the workshop. We have a mini sale today on AliExpress. A buddy of mine on Reddit pointed out that really it lines up with Amazon Prime Days. So thanks to the competition, we've got some legitimate gems. Either way, it's going to be a good preview for the larger Ali sale that happens at the end of August. Now, instead of a list, I want to look at just a couple different categories of less seen watches, case in point. And last note, I can't recommend Proxima or NIW, even though I really want to, because currently I am one of the many Canadians who are dealing with lost packages in this Quantium shipping debacle. First up, we have some Cronos watches on clearance, and the quality of this brand easily meets or exceeds San Martin, but it does just lack a little bit in the creativity department, in my opinion. And to be fair, sales do lag behind when they do something a little outside the box design-wise like this. So what we do end up with, though, is a small list of these kind of crazy Cronos watches that are now on clearance. And this one, it's a real throwback to the mid-2000s when a lot of these upstart luxury brands were just throwing out designs every Baselworld. So you have the kind of ribbed case, the PVD coating, as well as, of course, the hex screws on the bezel. Long story short, I believe this is an original design by the guy behind Escapement Time. I think it didn't really fit his brand ethos, so he sold the design and the tooling to Kronos. Now, unfortunately, they didn't have much more luck with it, and it was discontinued soon after. You can see that this one is number 17 of 299, but why do we really care about this? Because in a bit, we're going to look at some watches that cost twice the price and use an NH-based movement, whereas this has a very nicely finished and bona fide PT 5000. So if you're into these unusual looks, then this is a great value. Coming in at $140 US, I'm calling attention to this because it's a great price and very few remain. The silver bezel is the best of what's left. And again, this is Pontiac Aztek level design. It's so ugly that it's kind of cool. Next up is a diver homage with a Yachtmaster style ceramic bezel. And I would stick to the black one in this case because I don't think that color goes really well with this material and finish, but I do really like the option to play with the dial combinations. My personal pick would be the black bezel and the blue dial. It's classic but also distinctive enough. And at the end of the day, this watch features that premium construction of this quintessential case, and it's significantly cheaper than Kronos' other offerings, it being clearance and all. At $160 and change, this is a serious value proposition for the quality of the construction that we get. Wrapping up the brand is another homage/original hybrid, and it's definitely on the chopping block too. This time, we're in an Aquaterra-inspired bronze case, and that really sets it apart from most bronze watches. Now we combine that with a PT 5000 movement and several unique dial options that makes this really a feature-rich choice. At $155 US, the pricing is in line with our previous clearance Kronos, making it a little more likely that you're going to find that cool, quirky piece at a bargain cost. Our second category is going to focus on one of my favorite movements, the Miyota 9015. It's just more elegant than an entry-level Swiss ETA, and the architecture actually, if you look to the right there, it underpins La Joupere's stunning GP1000 series. Unfortunately, AliExpress watches with this movement are a bit thin on the ground, and I was going to recommend this Berny until I noticed that the crystal is actually sapphire-coated mineral glass, so that's a hard pass there. Instead, let's take a look at this 2015 Imperator, that's a great model name, from Reef Tiger. And while the brand has lost the spotlight recently, it does remain in the high-quality tier. I especially like the details on the dial. We have the textured ring as well as this blue second hand. It just feels like a very coherent and deliberate design. A masculine diameter of 40 millimeters makes this an ideal office watch. And if we forego the bracelet, the sale price falls to $161 US. But wait, there's more. For a similar price, we find this complicated Berny that houses a 9000 series movement with extra functions. So we have day, date, and power reserve. It also has this unique double ellipse case shape, and that was designed and popularized by independent watchmaker Daniel Roth, but they were eventually gobbled up by Louis Vuitton, so even though this is an homage, it's a very esoteric one. So take into account the custom sapphire crystal, and all of this costs money in production. I think because the watch is off most guys' radar, we get that lower price. and the only thing stopping me is the large dimensions of the case. If this is in your wrist wheelhouse, I highly recommend you just take a second look. This watch comes in at $170 and change. Quick, here are some honorable mentions on the affordable side. The Dune dial Addiesdive on the left, it's a value favorite right now, however it does lack a sapphire crystal, and that's a big letdown for me. The NIW on the right, I think that stands for no idea what, but jokes aside, it is a $55 watch with a sweeping quartz movement and a sapphire crystal, they claim, and attractive dial options too, so I'm kind of tempted to review this one. Wrapping up, a couple GMTs using Seiko's NH34 movement. So maybe the last watch on this list is going to be a bit pricey or a bit showy, but you still want a fun travel watch. Somehow this Rimalti here never leaves my shopping cart. The model hybridization, I like the contrast between the dial and the bezel. The logo, it uses the proper spelling, and not to mention the first Rimalti that I reviewed had really impressive construction and finishing. At a bit over 180 USD, this is definitely the sensible GMT pick. Finally, and I swear I'm not plugging my last review, but it has to be the new GMT from San Martin, the SN0116. It's just such an excellent watch on so many levels, and it ain't cheap at 260 to 265 US dollars, but it is also kind of the hot watch of the moment, so if you've had your eye on it, by the time the August sale rolls around, the summer's going to be over, so now is your time to pull the trigger, so to speak. I couldn't resist playing with this just a little bit more. The 24-click bidirectional bezel, the beads of rice bracelet, which I especially love, and of course, the on-the-fly adjustable clasp that was a real revelation for me. But as always, thanks again for watching. This has been my picks and prices for the July 2023 mini sale on AliExpress. It's a good preview for the August sale though, and I will see you next time.